Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. Man, I am really being tested right now. I know a lot of it has to do with these retrogrades, and then of course we have the full moon coming up tomorrow, I believe, or is it today? I don't remember. I have to look at my calendar. And then of course we have Saturn going retrograde right afterwards too. And what's interesting, it didn't hit me until yesterday, that full moon is going to be in Capricorn, and Saturn, of course, rules Capricorn. So, little, yeah, a little intense. And of course, we've had Pluto in retrograde since May 4th. He's been transiting Aquarius. Neptune just went retrograde last Friday. And now we have Saturn coming up, so we're in the pre-shadow for that one. Plus we're in pre-shadow for Mercury going retrograde. I believe it's on the 17th. Interestingly, we have a few things that are happening, or at least there's a few things that are happening kind of close related to my life or whatever, but it's like, okay, something about the 17th. I'll have to keep my eyes out. So yeah, we have Mercury, and then end of the month on the 30th, I believe it is Chiron. Chiron, if you're wondering what it is, it's basically, they can't decide if it's an asteroid or a comet. It's kind of trapped between, I believe, Saturn and Uranus. Keeps bouncing back and forth back there. And, he's basically, in Chiron, in Greek mythology, was the wounded healer. He could heal everybody else but himself. So, and those, let me see here, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are all happening in sign of Aries, and depending on your birth chart, depends on which house it's going to be affecting. So, a lot about the self. Okay, so you can automatically say, since how it's all happening in Aries, or they're all starting in Aries, and or at least all three of them are starting in Aries, but then Neptune and Saturn at the end are going to be bouncing back into Pisces at the end. So, yeah, a lot having to do with the self, emotional triggers, and so on and so forth. Those deep, dark, spiritual, emotional triggers, and so forth. So anyway, and then of course we have Lionsgate coming up on August 8th. Excuse me. So, yeah. And we just had a portal, energy portal, the 7-7 portal opened. Also, the other day. Oh, boy. But yeah, I know I am definitely getting triggered a little bit. More than just a little bit. And I'm doing my best to keep calm and so forth. But I'll admit, I kind of lost it there a little bit at the end of my shift last night with working. Those of you who don't know, I do deliveries. Used to do ride sharing. Used to be a graphic designer. Used to be. I just had gotten to the point in my life. I started doing ride sharing primarily because I lost my job after being kind of badly injured in a car accident. So, yeah, I was kind of laid up for about 3 months there. And, of course, I lost my job in the meantime. So, I needed money immediately. And since I used to be a cab driver, I'm like, well, I'll try ride sharing. So, and I was able to jump onto the platform really, really fast. Not a whole lot, not a whole lot in the way of startup costs or anything. And, just got things rolling. that way. Then I was trying to get freelance work going. Was kind of doing it on the side. Was trying to do that full time. It just wasn't working out, so I just stuck with the ride sharing. And then, of course, one thing left to another. But anyway, ultimately wound up doing deliveries, which is what I'm doing now. And right now I'm also trying to get myself on a routine and going out. Basically, I want to get on a routine of working Sunday through Thursday, and when I go out, make a certain dollar amount every single night. So, but yeah, got a little bit challenging there towards the end last night. It was a bit of a challenging night last night anyway. Not a lot in the whole, not a whole lot in the way of big orders. So it was a little bit frustrating, especially there at the start, because it was a lot of small orders, and I really kind of rely on those big money tickets to drive my book up a little bit faster. So I wound up working about the same amount of hours last night, and I dropped off my last one. I was a little bit shy for meeting my monetary goal, but I was way out there in the boonies on the north side, middle of farm country. It was pitch black, and not a lot in the way of things that would be open or anything, so I would have to drive all the way back into town, and we're talking a good 20-minute drive in order to be able to make an extra $7, right? So I could meet that nightly goal. And I was just like, okay, you got to know when to cut your losses too. And unfortunately, I had somebody who was a little bit on the icky side. That was my second to the last order. I guess she thought that after I picked it up, I immediately go over there, but she didn't pay that extra to have it delivered directly to her. So in the meantime, I got another request. It was a shopping order request. One of the local grocery stores here that's open 24 hours. So I had to stop and do that, and she was getting a little bit icky with it, and it's like, sorry, it's the way it is. Pay extra next time. And then, of course, it didn't help either. They didn't have the one drink item that she wanted, so she had to get a substitution. And I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. It's not my problem. Not much I can do about it. If the restaurant runs out of that particular drink item, not much I can do about it, So, oh well. And then my last one that I wound up dropping off, was it that one? I don't remember. I know there was one there towards the end. They were nowhere to be found. And that was a big problem, too, last night. Well, that one, I needed the pin, and unfortunately, couldn't get a hold of them. So I wound up having to bypass the pin option. It's always good to get the pin, so that way getting confirmation that they received it, so they can't come back and say, oh, I didn't receive it, I want a refund, and then of course that all winds up coming back onto you. The other option that's always good is for if they request to have it left at the door, then just take a picture, that's your confirmation that it was left where it should be. So, unfortunately, I kept running into kind of those issues. And also, a big issue, which is always a big trigger for me, nobody leaving lights on. I don't understand. You submit a request to have something delivered in the middle of the night, and you don't even leave a light on. So we can see addresses, and so we're not tripping and hurting ourselves on your property, and then possibly creating a lawsuit for you. That makes no sense, and it's just common courtesy. It's like, come on, people, turn your lights on. So, yeah, that was a bit of a trigger and everything. But anyway, I decided to run. Afterwards, I was just like, okay, I'm pretty much done. I went offline. I stayed online just in case, but there was nothing coming in. I'm like, you know what, I'm just done. So I figure, okay, I'm just going to run over to this 24-hour Walgreens, take care of my banking. I walked in there to do that, and I walked in with this other lady, and she jumped onto the ATM right away, and I was like, okay, now I need something to eat anyway, so I figured I'd go over to the freezer section, see if maybe there was something there that sounded appealing. Their freezers were down, so they had, of course, nothing over there. All completely busted. All the stock was cleared out and everything. So it was like, okay. So then I walked back up front, and she's still piddle-putzing at the ATM. Like, okay. So I was able to jump on the ATM, and then I had to, take it over to the counter, let her do her thing and so forth. But with the dollar amounts that I was depositing, she had to input information for my ID, and I still only have the paper ID, so she has to type everything in. She can't just scan it. And unfortunately, she had to do it twice. And then something happened. There was a couple other people who were waiting in line. Something happened, and she tore off over into another section afterwards, and it was just like, okay, I'm out of here. And I decided, okay, well, there's this one restaurant, basically an American style restaurant. It's regional. I figure, all right, and a lot of people have kind of raved about it or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I was really wanting a burger. I mean, really, really have been wanting a burger the last few days. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll stop off over there. I know, I'm very tired. I didn't get much in the way of sleep. As you can see why. Excuse me. Anyway, I figured I would run over to one of them, order myself a burger, and bring it home. Well, I walk in, and the guy, he was kind of paying a little bit more attention to this one table, instead of the front counter. So then I'm waiting for a little bit. I'm like, okay. And then he comes over, and he's like, I told him, I want to be able to order something to go. And he's like, oh, do you know what you want? I'm like, no, I have no idea what's even on the menu. I just moved here. I'm new to the area, so I need a menu. He's like, oh, well, so I've never eaten here before. And he's like, oh, well, if you've never eaten here before, you should have a seat, get the full experience, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I just want to order so I can go home. Oh, okay. It was like automatically defensive, and it was just like, that was kind of the attitude. And I'm like, dude, I just want a menu. I'm very tired, and I'm hungry, and I want to go home. And so he gives me the menu, And I see, okay, the burgers, and I see I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of a special order with what I want. So I'm like, okay. So, and then I'm standing there waiting again, because again, he's over there chit-chatting with the people. Like I said, I was really being tested last night. And finally he comes over, and I tell him what I want. And he puts it in, I pay for it. And he's like, oh, all right, well, as soon as um, it comes out, I'll get it for you. Okay. Well, another thing I noticed is that he was walking around with what looked like to be a small tennis racket. Like, what the hell are you doing with a freaking tennis racket? Come to find out, it was one of those, I guess, mobile electric fly swatter things or whatever. And while I was sitting there, sure enough, I start getting attacked by bugs, like mosquitoes. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell kind of place is this? Where are they coming from? Oh, jeepers. Like I said, I'm being tested. I was really being tested last night. I'm like, okay. So then I get my food, bring it home. Yeah, it was made to order. I just had this funny feeling though. I took a bite out of the burger and it's raw. I'm like, what? Maybe it's just this. So I took a bite, turned the burger around. I was thinking, well, maybe it's just the side or something. Maybe that, sometimes things don't cook quite even or whatever. Like, or whatever. I go and the other side, same thing. I'm like, what the hell? So I tear it apart. It was completely raw. I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. I get on the phone with them and I tell them, and oh my gosh, did I get an attitude? Well, you're going to have to bring it back because I don't believe you, basically telling me that, all I have, his words were, all I have is your word. I need to see it. That's what he told me. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm going to go through all this trouble to try and get a free burger? I realize that people do that or what have you. And I'm like, dude, I just got home. I would have to drive all the way back over there. And on top of it, I'm a diabetic and I just took my insulins. Oh, well then I guess you'll just have to bring it in tomorrow. Talk to my manager and bring it in tomorrow. Excuse me? Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. I usually don't do reviews. But I'm like, no. You're not getting away with this. I couldn't help. That was one boundary that, no. So yeah, I went up there with that location. I wrote a scathing review. Even included the phone call. I'm like, nope. So I got the food there in the fridge. I'm just trying to give myself a minute to wake up, calm my body down a little bit and so forth before I drive over there so I can get my money back. If they want to try and convince me to cook me new food, I mean, even the bun was soggy. And it wasn't like I could turn around and cook it. It had cheese on top. And about the only thing I could really eat off the burger that was actually cooked was the bacon. And then I was only going to eat like half of the meal and then save the other half or heat it up this morning. So I'm not somebody who likes condiments and so forth. I like my burgers plain. Sorry. No, I'm not apologizing. But, yeah, it just completely I mean, that was just uncalled for, the whole situation. I mean, he can say that I had an attitude when I walked in or whatever. It wasn't an attitude. It was exhaustion and starvation. I had not eaten in over 12 hours. So I was hungry. And then I had to deal with this. And now I'm sitting there at the table. I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, I've got nothing to eat in the house. And my sugar's dropping like a rock right now. Now what? So I sugared myself up and drank one of my Ensures that I usually take with me to work, just so I could get some sleep and not bottom out in the process. I was a little worried going to bed, and yeah, my sensor was even acting up because of the bottoming. But so I had to do a fingerprint to make sure where I was at. But I felt pretty secure with where I was at with my blood sugar level, so I could get some sleep and not have to worry about bottoming out, possibly winding up in a freaking coma or some shit. Oh, that just, yeah. Oh well. Drama. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm just giving myself a minute before as I just woken up, and I need to, of course, did my first of the morning business, and I'm trying to give it all time to calm down before I go out there and have to deal with that. So I'm going to get my burger though. I'm going to stop off at the store and pick myself up some hamburger and make myself a burger. That's the way I'm looking at it. So, anywho, yeah. Oh yeah, and the fries were, they were cooked. Fries were cooked, but it was kind of like, I felt like barely, like whatever. I still want my burger though. But today is my Thursday. Even though I also worked Saturday, this past Saturday, I'm not counting it towards this, this time of working. Oh, I work tonight, tomorrow night, and then that'll give me plenty of money so I can run over to Whole Foods and get some groceries and do some real cooking. Ugh. So, yeah, like I said, I'm being, I'm being tested most definitely. But that's okay. Being up there, out in the middle of nowhere, and the moon was shining down. Very beautiful. Clear skies last night. Pitch black. You could kind of make out the outlines of things and so forth. You could hear the toady frogs croaking to each other. And it was just quiet, peaceful. It was nice. I know the direction that I'm going now. I have a lot of research to do, and some things to figure out with it, but I know the direction that I'm going. So, yep. And that's part of the journey. See how badly I want it. So, and to enjoy the process of getting it. The testing times are there to see where you're at in your journey, see how much you've grown, and see how badly you want it. None of the roads to our goals are ever easy for a reason. They're there to check your resilience and to also help with your growth and to show and to help you appreciate the goal once you do get there, and to also to show your strength. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and to help you enjoy that journey even that much more. So, seize it. Seize it. All right, so that's my words of wisdom for today. I'm doing this. So, I know I still want a burger. I really want a burger so bad. So, but anywho, I gotta get myself moving, and I still have to get a shower and so forth yet too. I'll do that later. But anyway, and I need to get her breakfast too when I get home. But first things first, go back to that restaurant I don't know, I might wind up getting a burger. But I'm enjoying myself. I really am, in many ways. I realized in the last month, I had somebody almost try and get me. Well, I did get food poisoning, and then almost had somebody else almost get me food poisoning. And I know what happened there. Basically, it's an age-old problem. Instead of defrosting the food, basically, instead of defrosting the food, after taking it out of the freezer, you're taking it straight out of the freezer and throwing it right directly on the fire. You can't do that, folks. It's going to cook on the outside and then be raw on the inside. This happens every single time. If you don't believe me, there's a show that, well, first of all, do it yourself and find out what happens. Or if you don't want to go through that expense, there's a show called Bar Rescue with Jim Toffer. And he shows that all the time. So, yeah. Check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about, okay? And it was classic. I didn't watch all of the episodes, but I kind of got into it. I think it was, when I had stress test done. I was in the hospital for that, and also for the breathing difficulties. Unfortunately, well, I was in one room, and then at the end, was it that? No, it wasn't that time. It was when I was in the hospital when I became a diabetic. That's when it was. And, because I started off in one room, and then they needed it as I was on the oncology floor, as it was the only bed that was available, unfortunately. I was on that floor, or in that room, and then they needed that room for another cancer patient coming in, and I was in the process of going home anyway. We were just waiting on paperwork, basically, to be finalized. And so they asked me if I'd be willing to switch rooms. I'm like, sure. So basically they opened up a room that they were using for storage. I was put in the storage closet, basically. I mean, there was, they hadn't cleared out everything out of the bathroom, and there was all this crap that was in it, and I was just like, okay. And unfortunately, nobody could figure out how to get the TV to work. And there's not much to do, to begin with. And then the damn TV wasn't working. There was one channel, and they were having a bar rescue marathon. Oh, gosh. So I got to watch that for almost 24 hours. I kind of got into it. And started watching it after I got home even. I think it's on Paramount Plus, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That hospital stay was a little bit of a nightmare here. I'm supposed to be getting training on how to take care of my diabetes. No training whatsoever. Never. I was supposed to see a nutritionist. Never saw a nutritionist. If anything, what they did they did. It's my understanding they did show up at one point. Finally, after 4 days or something like that, and but I was taken out for some. I think there was some imaging because I showed up with multiple issues, and I went there for the breathing issues. I walked out a diabetic. Gosh. Anywho, yeah, that was about 4 months after I had what I'm going to say was COVID. So anyway, yeah, excuse me. I know I'm very tired. I went out for some sort of imaging that was being done. I think I know which one it was. I'm not going to say what it was. It's a little bit on the private side. So anyway, I went out to have that done. I came back, and my nurse that I had, she was a little bit on the bitchy side, and she kind of threw paperwork that the nutritionist left at the desk for me. Literally threw it at me. I was like, yeah, okay, this is a great experience. So, oh well. And like I said, and then of course, unfortunately, with the hospital's policy, you weren't allowed to inject yourself. Some of the nurses went against the policy and went ahead and let me do some things, like at least my own finger pricking, so I could get that experience, injecting some things. But as far as drawing out your own insulin, of course that wasn't going to happen because of all the legalities associated with that. But as far as making your own decisions, I never saw a doctor, even not a diabetic doctor. I saw 2 doctors in the emergency room where they diagnosed me. After that, never saw a doctor again. So no training, not a complete opposite from what my mom had gotten, because she got all sorts of training and so on and so forth right there in the hospital, how to do things and everything else. Complete opposite with me. So I was very grateful that I had the training from my mom's, so I kind of knew what to do when I got home. But as far as how much insulin I should be taking, yeah, it was on the prescription bottle, but they didn't teach you about anything about sliding scales or anything like that. And it's like, no wonder people are so screwed up with their diabetes these days. They're not getting any sort of training. So, and even afterwards, and then of course it was a month out. What was a month and a half before I could even see an endocrinologist, an appointment there. So, yeah, I had a rough start, so, with my diabetes, but ultimately it wound up working out better in my favor, because it taught me how to treat myself instead of having to be relying on the doctors so damn much. Oh, darn, my sugars are too high. What should I do, doctor? Or having to be calling them constantly. My sugars are really high here lately. I don't know what to do. I don't understand why. I keep having these low sugars. What do I do? Hello? Adjust your insulins? It's like, basically, what you'd have to do is, the one that is the stabilizer is the long acting, okay? That's the one that lasts for about 24 hours in your system. That one is that's basically the one where you have to find what I call the magic number, and you stick with it. You don't deviate from it. It's the short acting that you make the adjustments based off of what you're eating, what is going on with your body at the time, your stress levels, how much caffeine you're taking in, things like that. Because it isn't just about sugar. It isn't just about the carbs. It's also about stressors. That if you're really stressed in life, it's going to drive your blood sugar up. If you're a woman and you're still getting your periods, going through those cycles one way or another, even if you're postmenopausal, if you're still possibly going through, basically if you're still going through, cycles or what have you, and if you're a woman, you know exactly what I'm talking about, then that puts pressure on your body, that puts stress on your body. So it's going to cause your blood sugars to elevate. So yeah, things like that. So, you got to take in all those factors in order to determine how much insulin that you should take as far as the short acting is concerned. And if need be, if you wound up not taking enough to cover, taking a little bit more afterwards. Start off with your base. I pretty much eat about the same thing every single meal or whatever. So I start off with what I call a base dosage, and then if I need to, I take a little bit more. Sometimes, though, if I'm eating really lean or whatever, then I'll cut back. So, you just gotta you gotta know your body. You gotta get to know your body. That's what it boils down to, and then compensate after that. So, but anywho, I need to go so I can get the things taken care of. So, I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.